But between us, it was very clear. We had a discussion after the race. I explained the choice, and we were.
Vasseur thought he was putting out the flames, but in reality, he might have poured fuel on the fire. What seemed like a routine post-race statement after the Spanish Grand Prix turned into something much bigger, a subtle spark that could ignite a full-blown crisis within Ferrari. Frédéric Vasseur, the Ferrari team principal, faced the media calmly, defending the team's performance with lap times and tyre data. On paper, it looked like the usual response: protect the team, focus on facts, avoid emotions. But this wasn't just about numbers or strategy. This moment was about trust, belief, and connection. And in that moment, Vasseur and Lewis Hamilton were completely out of sync. Hamilton's team radio message wasn't angry or explosive. It was quiet, flat, almost resigned. When he said the car was undriveable and gave it a 0 rating, it wasn't frustration screaming out loud. It was a silent surrender. The voice of a 7-time world champion who started the season full of hope, now feeling completely disconnected from the car and maybe the entire Ferrari project. This was a man who had fought relentlessly throughout his career, now sounding tired and defeated. That single word, 0, carried more weight than any data chart ever could. This wasn't a story about tyre pressures, lap times, or pit stop strategy. It was about two men at the heart of one of Formula One's most iconic teams drifting apart. Vasseur, relying on statistics and logic, and Hamilton, speaking from a place of exhaustion and doubt. Behind those short, cold words on the radio was a deeper problem, a crisis of belief and connection that Ferrari can't fix by adjusting the car or changing the race strategy. During the Spanish Grand Prix, Hamilton struggled quietly lap after lap. He wasn't crashing or spinning. Instead, he wrestled with a car that simply didn't respond. Then, on the team radio, with millions listening worldwide, he called the car undriveable. He said he saw no positives, and when asked for a performance rating, gave it a flat 0. That moment wasn't about venting anger or lashing out. It was pure exhaustion, a driver giving up after fighting hard with no results. Usually, after a message like that, you'd expect a flurry of activity in the garage. Urgency, tension, maybe a promise to fix things fast. But when Vasseur spoke, it was almost like he was in a different world. Calm and collected, he downplayed the situation, pointed to Hamilton's lap times, and insisted the pace was there. The official numbers didn't show disaster, so according to him, everything was under control. But for fans and insiders who heard Hamilton's message, this response felt tone-deaf and dismissive. It wasn't just a miscommunication, it was a clear disconnect between the team principal and his star driver. This moment exposed a bigger issue. Ferrari and Hamilton are no longer on the same page. The driver expected a revolution, a fight, a partnership. The team, led by Vasseur, appeared stuck in old methods focused solely on data and results. Hamilton was trying to send a signal, but it seemed like Vasseur had his back turned. The relationship was starting to fracture, and the quiet radio message was the first visible crack. Looking back at the past few races, it's clear this wasn't an isolated incident. In Miami, Hamilton's tone was sarcastic, hinting at frustration. In Monaco, he grew more distant, answering questions without his usual passion. By the time they reached Barcelona, Hamilton's body language spoke volumes: slouched shoulders, downcast eyes, short interviews. He no longer looked like the leader who would rally his team after setbacks. Instead, he seemed withdrawn, almost checked out. This was the Lewis Hamilton who had begun to lose faith not just in the car, but in the whole Ferrari setup. It's not that Hamilton stopped caring. It's that he might have started to believe caring wasn't enough to change things. And when a driver of his caliber starts to lose that spark, it's a warning sign Ferrari cannot ignore. This is more than just performance on the track. It's a psychological and emotional battle that affects the whole team. Digging deeper, it's clear this tension between Ferrari and Hamilton goes beyond a single race or radio message. It reflects a culture clash. Ferrari is a team built on precision, data analysis, and cold logic. Decisions come from spreadsheets and simulations. Emotions take a backseat. For many drivers, that's enough. But for Hamilton, it's not. He thrives on trust, communication, and connection with the team. His greatest successes have come from feeling that bond, knowing everyone is pulling in the same direction. He isn't just looking for a fast car, he wants to be part of a team that believes in him and works with him. But at Ferrari, that connection feels fragile, even absent. The team culture appears detached and transactional, treating Hamilton more like a component than a leader. That silence from the team has spoken loudly to Hamilton. The more he pulls back, the more his belief in the project fades. You begin to wonder if Ferrari truly understood the kind of leader they were bringing in. Hamilton wants passion, trust, and collaboration, but what he's getting instead feels cold and distant. And that's dangerous for any team, especially one chasing F1 championships. That's why Vasseur's post-race comments matter so much. In Formula One, performance isn't just about lap times or tyre degradation, it's about partnership. When a driver opens up with frustration and the team boss responds only with numbers, it widens the gap. It feels like being ignored or dismissed, as if feelings don't fit into the spreadsheet. Vasseur may think he's defending the team's work and image, but in reality, he risks isolating the one person who could still lead Ferrari back to glory. This isn't just a PR mistake, it's a sign of a culture clash. F1 is a sport where every fraction of a second counts, and so does the relationship between a driver and the team principal. When that relationship breaks down, performance suffers, morale drops, and ambitions fade. Zooming out, this all points to something bigger. Ferrari's identity crisis. Once a team known for passion, fire, and emotion, Ferrari now feels colder and more corporate, like a machine running on data and presentations instead of heart and soul. This shift may work in some industries, but it's deadly in a sport where fans expect drama, excitement, and moments that define history. Hamilton didn't join Ferrari to be part of a sterile, numbers-only operation. He came for legacy, to build a new chapter in one of motorsport's greatest stories. He wanted passion, challenge, and connection. But if Ferrari can't blend precision with passion, they risk losing the driver who might lead them back to greatness. Hamilton isn't just any driver. He's a symbol of what Ferrari could become again. If that spark dies out, it won't be just a lost race or season. It'll be a lost future. Now, the spotlight shifts to Canada. This next race is more than a competition. It's a test of whether Ferrari can listen to Hamilton. Can they move beyond hiding behind data and finally understand what he needs? Will they show respect for his leadership and frustration, or will they continue to dismiss him? Failing to acknowledge Hamilton's feelings here could cost Ferrari far more than points. They risk losing the trust and commitment of a 7-time world champion who has the power to walk away. The stakes have never been higher. Canada is a tipping point. What happens there could decide the fate of Ferrari's championship hopes and the future of their relationship with Hamilton. This isn't just a mechanical problem with the car or engine. It's an emotional crisis playing out in the open. Ferrari is losing more than races right now. They're losing their heartbeat. The fire and passion that once made them unstoppable are fading fast. And the most worrying sign isn't found in lap times or pit stops. It's in Hamilton's silence. When a driver like him stops speaking out and fighting, that silence becomes the loudest message of all. The clock isn't just ticking down to the next race. It's counting down the time left for trust, belief, and hope between Hamilton and Ferrari. If they don't find a way to reconnect, to listen, and to rebuild, what remains might disappear forever. Because in Formula One, the loudest message is often the one left unspoken.